This is definitely the most obscure game of the Dragon Quest Monsters series, even more so than Joker 2, and that game only sold 10,000 copies. LOL. Today I'm reviewing Dragon Quest Monsters 1 for Japanese iMode compatible mobile cell phones. In all honesty, I couldn't find much information about this version of the games or the adapter used to connect it to your PlayStation 1. I'm kind of disappointed seeing as how I wanted actual gameplay video that I recorded, or at least videos of someone playing it. If you find any on the Japanese version of YouTube, let me know so I can update the video. A huge mystery is when this game was actually made. The official Wikipedia page of the Game Boy Color game and RPGamer.com states the release date as January 28th, 2002, whereas the Woodus Dragon's Den page states it as 2006. Even more confusion arises is when you look at the few pages that exist for this game. Some, such as RPGamer.com, makes it sound like this is a remake of the Game Boy Color game for mobile phones with slight alterations. However, looking at the Woodus page screenshots, it looks nothing like the Game Boy Color game, but an entirely new game set in a different place. Also, was the game built into the compatible phones, or did you have to download it? Or was it a web-based connection cell phone type of game? Conflicting release dates, different descriptions for the game, almost no evidence to support either release date, or if they were even the same game, no screenshots online apart from the Woodus page, no known gameplay videos, nothing. So how will I review this game in depth then? Well, in depth usually means showing the most information available at the time, so with pretty much most of the information I gathered online, although scarce, that sounds about as in depth as I can get. Before I get into judging, I need to talk about some more details of this whole matter. First, you need an iMode compatible cell phone. I will be reading an article about the game that was published on RPGamer.com by Justin Weiss in 2002.
Dragon Quest Monsters hits cell phones. The Dragon Quest games look to conquer yet another device, with the popular creature-raising RPG Dragon Quest Monsters recently released for cellular phones in Japan. For only 300 yen, about $2.26 a month, players can raise their own monsters with which to explore and battle. The game will consist of 4 main locations: a wooded area for gaining rare items, a town for selling those items for money, a pasture for training monsters by taking them on trips, though these trips cost money, and an arena where players can battle other players with their monsters. The graphics and engine for the game are a near-perfect conversion from the Game Boy Color game of the same name, though the game itself would be better described as an arrangement rather than a direct port. The cell phone version of Dragon Quest Monsters was officially released on the 28th of January. A release outside of Japan is unlikely, for it would probably require a complete rewrite for North American cell phones. For those inside Japan, however, it is easier than ever to prove oneself to be the best trainer of them all. By Justin Weiss.
Source: GameWatch. Interesting that you need to pay a subscription fee. As I mentioned earlier, no one can seem to decide if the game was a remake of the Game Boy Color game for cell phones, or a new game with new areas and characters that are only loosely based on the first game, such as the monsters. Justin says the graphics are a near conversion from the Game Boy game, but then says the game is not a direct port, but an arrangement. So vague in my opinion, which is why I question if there were 2 games released in 2 different years, or that the game is so obscure no one knows exactly when it was made. According to the screenshots from Woodus, it looks like a very loose arrangement. Different everything. The graphics resemble the PS1 remakes of the Game Boy games more than the Game Boy Color game. More on that later. It should be noted that this is the only way to get the legendary super rare Ayabao monster, which is a yellow version of Watabao and Warbao but has a cell phone on the PS1 remakes. To do that, you need an iMode compatible cell phone with the cell phone Dragon Quest Monsters game on it, a PlayStation 1, and an iMode adapter. You would plug the iMode adapter into the PlayStation 1's controller port and then the opposite end into your iMode compatible cell phone. From there, an interface would load into a menu with multiple options. What you did after that is unknown, but apparently you could transfer your monsters from the PS1 games to the cell phone and transfer your cell phone monsters to the PS1 games, which is what you would have had to have done to get Ayabao. Which makes me wonder something else. Dragon Warrior Monsters 2, Terra and Kobe for the Game Boy Color had a Nintendo event in which 75 people would win 3 rare monsters for their game that you couldn't get anywhere else. These monsters were Dimensor, Lamia, and Cagebao, another Watabao and Warbao type monster. Based on the screenshots of the PS1 remakes I found, Dimensor was included in the remakes on PS1, but I don't know if new worlds were added in the remakes to get the rare beast, or perhaps they were added to the cell phone game as well, and that's how you get them on the PS1 remakes by transferring via iMode. Interesting to think about, isn't it? First up, graphics. Based on these screenshots, the graphics look beautiful, nearly as good as the PlayStation 1 remakes. They're more of a mixture of the remakes and Dragon Quest Monsters Caravan Heart for the Game Boy Advance. But to make graphics this beautiful for such a tiny cell phone screen, it makes me wonder how difficult it was to control your character and what the frames per second were on the game itself. Notice how sometimes the player is a girl, and in other screenshots the player is a boy. Could you choose your gender, I wonder? Towers from the second game also appeared in this game, and the fact that you can make the comparison shows loyalty to the second game's style, which I appreciate. In screenshots number 10, it looks as though you could take control of your monsters and travel an overworld map. The monster in the screenshot looks like Dragon Kid to me. Screenshot 22 appears to show Momonja and King Slime breeding? Or one giving the other a gift? It's hard to tell, but cool looking that this occurred while in the overworld map. I'll show the rest of the screenshots without commentary, just wanted to point out some interesting things I noticed. Next is, would I play it? Right now, absolutely. I love Dragon Quest Monsters and have ever since the first game came out. Even if it was just to get Ayabao on the PlayStation 1 remakes, I would definitely play this version. If it was 2002 when the game was supposedly made though, I couldn't have. I was too young back then, and kids didn't have cell phones like they do now. Final verdict, without playing it and keeping in mind of the time frame of 2002, I'd give this game a 4 out of 5. Having to buy an adapter and a specific cell phone to get cell phone exclusives like Ayabao and Zoma's Devil would have been a huge turnoff to me. But I also realized this was in 2002 before Bluetooth and Wi-Fi really took off, so this kind of thing with wired adapters was the norm. Now, Ayabao and Zoma's Devil are lost to time. 1, due to the 2 games they debuted in being extremely obscure, and 2, because this iMode game is gone for good. Probably. Now time for more differences between Dragon Warrior Monsters for the Game Boy Color and Pokemon Red, Blue, Green, and Yellow. In Dragon Warrior Monsters, your monster's max level cap increases the more you breed it with other monsters, with a known maximum level of 99. In Pokemon, all monsters' max level is 100 by default. In Pokemon, you can teach Pokemon moves via TMs and HMs. In Dragon Warrior Monsters, your monsters can only learn moves via level up and breeding. In Pokemon, moves are learned at set levels for each monster. In Dragon Warrior Monsters, in order to learn moves, a monster must have a certain amount of MP, intelligence, and level requirement met. That's all in this episode. Watch my next video to learn about more differences between Dragon Warrior Monsters and Pokemon.